Before one thing before I get into the question, you mentioned the prequel series. That was something that also caught my interest because there's also a lot of backstory of Alita, like previous to the first story. That is very interesting, like her upbringing on Mars, her enlisting to the army, or to the Martian
Erica,
military,
all the stuff with
and
Erica.
And also was also interesting the events that led to the Great Fall, the war between Earth and Mars, basically.
Yes.
That would be something that they could really do well on a series at Disney, exploring this whole interstellar war, and what led to that. That was really interesting for me. And the other thing, and now coming to the question. Could you give us some detail regarding the obstacles you tackled during the adaptation from manga to the movie?
Is this in relation to Jim's "I hit a wall" thing?
Not directly, but for you personally, when you read the manga, what was for you the most interesting problem you had to solve from getting from the manga to a movie, to a shooting script?
Oh, and when Robert came on, I was doing, at that point, I can't even remember what I was doing at that point. I was doing another movie. So I didn't work with him when he was assembling the shooting script. So I don't know how his process was. But for me, when I was working with Jim, because it was a parallel thing, like he was writing the first draft of Avatar and I was writing the first draft of Alita, was what was happening like at the same time. And they were doing look dev on both. And the thing that was interesting about it was wrestling with what to leave out, right? So I think when Jim says he hit a wall, what he means is Lita kept giving him stuff that didn't quite do what he wanted him to do. So he finally said, I'm taking the script and I'm going to fix it. And then in the process of fixing it, discovered that there were also, that there was really hard to figure out, are you making a story closer to the manga? Are you making a story closer to the anime? That was really the fundamental, I think, decision point that everybody was faced with, including Robert. Like, what is it that is the focus? I did versions with Motorball. I did versions without Motorball. I did versions with Motorball but no Hunter Warrior. I did versions with Hunter Warrior with no Motorball. I did versions where Hugo died at the end, or where Hugo died earlier. I did one version that I was quite fond of, where Kaos shows up halfway through the script. Like where they actually go out into the Badlands, and when they find the Berserker body, they find him at the same time, and bring him back to Ito, which is still one of my favorite scenes, unfortunately, that never got shot, which is Ito. Like, so honey, you broke curfew, you brought home a stray revolutionary, because at that point, Radio Chaos is actually on the air all the time, and a Berserker body. So like you're grounded for the rest of your fucking life. It was very kind of fun. To have all the elements and play with them. So the hardest thing, if the question is what's hardest is what do you leave out, which is always true of really great source material. What do you leave out when so much of it is good?
I understand that struggle completely while I'm writing my fan novel, because I'm trying to extrapolate forward from where the movie ended, but include material from the novels that were written by Pat Cadigan. We've had her on, by the way, and had a great discussion with her about her process and how she wrote those two novels as well. And also trying to include stuff coming next in the manga. So I understand the battle that you're going through when you're trying to work out what to leave out and how to bring it all together.
And how to say, okay, we're going to make room for it later. We're going to figure out a way to work it in later. There was a whole, because I'm sure this is not spoiler for anybody on this stream, but obviously Dan and Kaos have a relationship, and there's a, there's a whole, and the Barjack are more than just a freedom fighting force, if you want to call it that. And there's something going on that's all about the soul of what this world is going to be. That there was at one point a version of the story that involved the thing that everyone wanted was actually Kaos himself, that he was the desired thing, and that Destiny Nova was pulling the strings, but was pulling the strings because he wanted his kid back without anybody knowing that that's who he was. So
Wow.
a lot of I would operatic is maybe the wrong word, but I'm absolutely a comic book baby, and very much a Marvel one too, very much an X-Men one. So that kind of level of everything ultimately is about family, and there's all of this. Yeah, by the way, Kaos walking around touching everything wasn't there because he's got the telemetry. He's got the whole kind of ability to sense past things, and splatting off stuff. Anyway, so yes, I really think that ultimately the biggest argument for a sequel or some other use of the material is that there's a lot of really great story there still to tell that people would want to see.
You don't have to tell us when one's yelling for it every day.
Shouting from the rooftops.
And to answer that question, I never think about casting. It's just my job. If I direct, when I direct, then it'll be my job. But until then, not so much. So I try to go in with knowing what the character is and not so much knowing who the person might be.
Fan casting is a very big thing on YouTube and the internet. So, while you're waiting for something to happen, which can take years, you tend to try and think, well, how would it happen? To keep your mind busy.